Sue Wilson. I've got a lovely card that features our new triple layering dies, and I want to just share with you how they're put together. This is a really simple card, but I thought it's a perfect example to show you how to do these. The dies we'll be using for today's video is the All the Best, which is the mini shadowed sentiment. This is the Lilian die, and this is the smallest of the frames and tags from the layering collection. We're also going to be using Melissa as the focal element. And we're going to be doing some embossing with the Checkerboard Pinpoint embossing folder too. Okay, pop those to the side. So what I want to do is start with the embossing. So I've got a piece of coconut white card. I'll give you a quick measurement on this. It is 4 inches wide by 6 1/4 inches long. I'm going to bring in my checkerboard folder. Now it's a geometric sort of pattern, so what you want to do is just line it up so that you think it's even on both sides, top and bottom. So I'm just going to catch a little bit there. That looks pretty good. So the sandwich for this is the folder with the card inside, and you can either use the raspberry adapter or the white adapter depending on your machine. I have found that this machine is quite tight, so I'm going to use the white adapter, which is a little bit thinner. Pop this through. There we go. There we go. Okay, and that off of there. So you can see I've got a really lovely emboss there with that. Got all those pinpoints coming up. So I'm going to use a little bit of tape on the back, and I've got some matting and layering here. And the other thing I wanted to share for this card was some of the new beautiful colors that we have in our cardstock range. So I'm going to be using Bluebell, which is the darker blue, and Arctic Blue, which is a little bit lighter, and they just look amazing together. And on the layering dies, it just brings out the beauty of those dies. So let's pop that right into the center there. And straighten that up. Okay, I'm going to bring in my base piece. I've also used the same Arctic Blue, which is the pale blue, the white, and the Bluebell, which is the deeper blue shade on this. Okay, put that down into place. We're going to come back to that in a second. I'm going to show you what I've done ahead of time. So I've got the Lilian and the Melissa die here. So I've cut the upper portion of the die, here is Melissa, into the Bluebell with this one. And I've cut the second layer of the die into, this is actually Sky Blue. Apologize, I have 3 tones on this. Okay. And the backing on this one is done in Arctic Blue. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to layer these up. So I'm just going to use a quick bit of spray. And as you can see, I have not used the outer cutting die, so I find it so much easier this way. So I'm going to just hover over the design until I get it straight over the pattern. Okay. There you go. And if you notice, it's not always straight on the outside. So if you want to use spray glue, what you need to do is just trim away any bit on the back so that it doesn't stick to your cutting plate. Okay. So now I'm going to, excuse me, bring in, excuse me, the outside of the cutting die on the Melissa, and I'm going to line that over it. Just make sure it's straight all the way around. I'm going to tape it in place, and I recommend using at least 2 pieces on either side. Okay, I'm going to bring my cutting plate back over, pop that down, and grab my top piece. I'm going to come back to that in a second. And I'm going to go ahead and do the Lilian at the same time. So with Lilian, excuse me, I've cut the top part of it into white and the second layer into the Arctic. So spray that. I'm going to layer this right over the top and just sort of hover over it. I find it's easiest to kind of line up the very top and the very bottom, and everything else sort of falls into place. Give it a good push. Make sure that you trim away any extra bits so it doesn't stick to your cutting plate. And when you cut it into the center of your card, you just want to make sure you're going to have enough room for your outside cutting edge to go around it. So don't get it too tight to the edge. And then for Lilian, I'm going to bring in this piece here. and layer that right over it. And pop that down and just look to make sure it looks nice and even. And tape both sides. I can cut both of these at the same time. Oops. There we go. Oops. That one stuck a little. Let me use this guy. There we go. Okay. Take this one out. Now, the reason I do it like that, if you use your cutting edge and cut all 3 layers with the cutting edge intact, because they're 2 different dies, they may not be put in exactly the same location. So you might have problem lining them up if you do it that way. If you don't mind it being a little bit off, then that's fine. You can do it that way. I think it's easier and you get a much cleaner look to do it this way. You can tell me if you find it's easier or harder, but I just designed them to do it this way, and I think it's you just get a nicer look. Everything stays really nice and tidy around the edge, nothing's sticking out. So now what we need to do is just put a little bit of glue on the back of this. Get my tweezers. And on the Melissa. Okay. So I can bring in my base piece for the Lilian. Just line it up. There we go. I find it's easier just to hold it in my hand, move it into place. And you can see all those beautiful colors coming through. And on the Melissa, I've got the Arctic background color, the Arctic blue. And I'm going to pick this up, and I see a piece of tape I missed. Get that off of that. Carefully. Oops. There we go. I'm going to lay this one down. So you can see I've got the Bluebell, Sky Blue, and the Arctic Blue, so a little bit different colors on those. So now I'm going to bring in my 2 Lilian side pieces, take the mounting foam off the back of them, and I'm going to seat these to the edge of the card, just about in the middle. We can move them around a little bit if we need to, but I like that. Just sort of eyeball that they're about in the same spot there. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of mounting foam to the middle of the Melissa. Raise that one up. That will go right in the middle between the 2. And sort of just eyeball that that's equal distance. Like that. And I've got the last Lilian that we did. We're going to seat that right in the middle. So these have been designed so that they layer up and look really, really pretty together too. So let's pop this one right about like that in the middle, like that. And I've done the All the Best, and what I decided to do was use the Bluebell for the sentiment and just a tiny little black mat I offset as a shadow. And I'm going to put that one in the center, right in the middle of the die. And I've got All in the Best. And these have been done in separate words, so you could stack them or use them side by side. They can go diagonal, whatever you choose for your particular project. And they look so pretty. There you have it, our triple layering dies all done up in the lovely shades of blue. Don't forget our YouTube channel has so many more for you to watch, and I'm on Instagram at Sue Wilson Crafter.